Hello, this video is the start of Sun conjunction. So, as you know, Sun is like our soul, our personality, our vitality, ego, confidence, rules. Well, it's the significator for father in our chart, and our leaders, our bosses, politicians, government, royalty. Sun rules Leo, and it's the natural fifth house of the zodiac. So it's a very creative planet too. So we create children, we create art, we create like nice environments to live. So all of those things are to do with the sun. Sun, obviously, the fifth house of the natural zodiac. Sun also, because of Leo, rules the heart chakra. Heart chakra, the physical heart. I always think that Cancer is the emotional heart, and Leo is the physical. So it's about romance, love, and through which we actually create children. It's also entertainment. All those wonderful things are to do with Leo. Well, fifth house naturally as well. So and wherever sun sits in your chart is where you get the respect and you shine in your life. So if it's in your 11th house, you shine amongst your networks. If it's your say for example, fourth house, your mother shines. She's a formidable force. So that's how you see things. Sun is most uncomfortable in the 12th house because this 12th house is a natural house of moksha, and it's also a very, very secretive house. It's all about things that are really hidden. So that's probably where I'll see Sun the weakest, even though it's debilitated in the 7th house of natural zodiac, which is Libra. So in the 7th house, whether it's Libra or not, it's kind of like feels a little bit out of control because feels weak actually. So it's probably got less ego attached to it actually. That's how I would say. It's because the king, sun is the king, the leader, the boss. So therefore, like Libra, which is the 7th house of the natural zodiac, is how we interact with others. We just self-sacrifice in order to get on with other people, be harmonious. Whereas the sun, you know, the royalty, the king, the prime minister, the president, they don't want to be getting, you know, they don't necessarily care about getting on with other people. They just want to do the job, if you like. So therefore, it's most uncomfortable there. But to me, a 12th house sun, it has got quite a lot of things attached to it. That's how I've been taught, you know. So, and it gets directional strength, which means that he's got the most amount of focus in the 10th house of natural zodiac, which will be Capricorn. Now, because obviously it's the boss. Once, you know, a Capricorn is like institutions, it's the government, all that kind of stuff. So it naturally wants to shine. Now, this also, you will find people who have got sun in Capricorn, even if it's not the 10th house, they naturally want to shine. They're naturally bossy. They can't help it. That's just the way it is. So if amongst your friends you have got somebody who has that, even if it's in the 4th house, the 3rd house, the 1st house, whatever it is, it naturally is a little bit like they're bossy, you know, that's just the way it is. So now, obviously, Sun is friendly with the Moon, Mars, Jupiter, and Mercury, and very, very big enemies of Venus and Saturn. So those of you who have seen the videos of those conjunctions, you know, they're quite difficult. You probably experienced that in your life. And obviously the nodes don't like the sun and moon. So that's another thing. And that's when the eclipses occur, the lunar or solar eclipses, when they are with either Ketu or Rahu, north or south node of the moon. Now, there are other things that I wanted to tell you about, like obviously sun is exalted in Aries, which is the sign of me, myself, and I. That's it. King and I. And so it's exalted at 10 degrees there in Aries, debilitated at 10 degrees in Libra. I would probably say Sun does worse in Venus's signs. They're so difficult, and also Sun is difficult in Saturn signs too. If you have them, you realize that it's the nature of Sun is fiery. So therefore, whatever planet it's sitting with is going to be eclipse, is going to be agitated, because you know fully well that if you're in the heat of the day when the sun is out, or if you're trying to park your car when it's really sunny, it's very, very frustrating, very, very difficult. So that's how it feels, you know. So when you see in people's charts sun and moon situations, excuse me, well, sun with any planet, it's agitating that planet, even if they're not combust. And I would leave below all the kind of combustion degrees, etc., for you. But I mean, obviously, if it's it is difficult being with them. Mercury is a planet that Mercury and Venus are fast moving planets, so they do move with the sun, and so often you see them in the chart quite close to the sun, whether it's in the same sign or a sign behind, sign in front, or sometimes even two signs. And so, but generally speaking, you know, sun agitates, so when it comes to the sun and the other planets, you want to see the degrees really, and the slower moving the planet is, the wider the sort of distance needs to be for it not to be combust. And obviously, if planets are retrograde in towards the sun, it's even more combustion going on there. So combustion is very difficult because what it does, it kind of burns away and purifies some of the indications of that planet. Excuse me, while a car's alarm has gone off. And the other things, so sun obviously gets directional strength in the 10th house. That's where it works quite well. And probably the most, I think sun is better actually because it's ego attached as well. Sun is sometimes better when it's in the chart is not overly well, you will know people who have got like exalted sun. They can be a little bit like well, you know you know, they kind of like, they are so self-aware, you know, so aware of their needs, they can just completely overlook other people. And it's all about their comfort, it's all about what they want. So if you're in a group of friends, you have somebody who has got an exalted sun, boy, do you know about it, you all know about it. It is just so crazy. So yeah, so sun and moon, so sun being the indicator of the father, and we're going to discuss moon today, but it's obviously, you know, you want to look at all planets and just see how it's going, but with the moon, because obviously it's the most important thing, I'm just going to do an extra video in the middle here so you know, because I want to just introduce lunar phases too to this. Anyway, let's just start. Before I go, actually, I just wanted to say something else about the sun and moon thing, because if sun and moon are together conjunct in a sign, in the D9, not so much in the D1, D9, because that kind of confirms everything and is a sign of like how we are with other people in relationships. If you got sun and moon conjunction in your D9, you're very new to relationships. So really just be aware that you're learning about relationships. And so don't get yourself, you know, like, don't be hard on yourself. This is what I'm trying to say, you know, and it's possible that you are going to go through some challenges in relationships because you really need to know your mind in order to be in a relationship in a positive way. And that comes with time, because none of us come out with an instruction book knowing what to do with it. So don't be hard on yourself. Okay, on to next video. Sun Saturn conjunction. So this is basically two planets that are complete enemies to each other. They have completely different agendas. They're both malefic, though, in their way that their natural nature. And so this can be quite difficult, you know. And the thing is, if you have this in your chart, you have to realize that it's you who needs to step out of this at some point and get the respect that you deserve, because these people that are the most humble people, they're hardworking, very disciplined, very, very responsible. They have probably have had more hardship than most people that we know. This also can create health issues as well, because obviously there are two malefics. Sun is going to burn some of the indications of the house they're sitting in. Sun is going to hurt Saturn. Saturn is going to hurt the Sun. So there could be this issue, because basically what's this conjunction, and also in opposition as well, it just means that this person has had very little support through life, and they're not supported, so they can have back issues, because both planet, and it feels that nobody's got their back, if you like. So and this they both also rule their skeletal system. Saturn also rules teeth, so they can have teeth issues. They could end up having, like, for example, if it's in Pisces, you could see that they could have problems with their feet. They could have bunions, tendinitis. They could break a toe. Those kind of things. So there is some level of pain that is associated with this as well. So expect some health issues, just naturally, because obviously your soul planet, your planet of vitality, the Sun, is being harmed by Saturn, and so those kind of things are to be actually observed. And they are almost like have bypassed their childhood. They're just born mature. There's a certain maturity that goes with them that you actually it's, as a parent, you should really embrace that child and just allow them to just be, and let them get their gifts out that they have for the world. We all have gifts to show the world, and just nurture that. Oh, excuse me. So anyway, so as I said, they're overlooked. So if they're you have siblings, they could just, they will be overlooked by the parents, because the other two, if there's three of them, the other two will shine, and the parents will see their fun in them and everything else, and they're more nurtured than their Sun Saturn one. So there could be these issues, the inner child within them, it has been overlooked. So as a result, they could have lack of confidence and self-esteem, and they just really want to be in the background. And they are very accepting of the difficulties of life. In fact, really, if anything, they see everything probably from lack, because there is this understanding that life is tough, and it's always like the hurdles upon hurdles upon hurdles. But as they get older, they realize, actually, those are the hurdles of your mind, and you are not your chart. That is what you've been brought in with. You can be what you want, so they need that understanding that life is not always at level one. You can move things on. So there is a fear with them as well. The soul is fearful, because they're always seeking security in that sense, and they can also be a little bit foggy about where, because the eclipse and the two planets not working together, they really don't know their soul's journey, because they're so busy, because they probably attract people, but they get bullied possibly and abused. I'm not saying everyone, but there could be a tendency like that. And so they don't think that one day actually they will shine. They don't realize that they literally see and encourage other people to do well and support other people, but they never ask for help. They just literally don't see themselves, because that, particularly if it's, ascendant, or first house or soul planet or something is involved in this, then they can just be completely overlooked. So there's this fear going on. They feel as though they always have to prove themselves, and get validations. Well, they don't get validation from, there's nobody validates their work. So they could be hardworking and doing better than anybody else, more reliable than all the other colleagues. But the other colleagues, they will get the promotions and everything, because obviously these people will just will not ask for what is rightfully theirs. There's a fear of actually asking and demanding to be seen, and so do you know what I mean? They just like they're not used to that. They come from that lack. So there's pain, and they see themselves a little bit as servant to the others. They can also early life, as I said, that can be quite difficult. The environment that they're brought up in, depending obviously where it goes in the chart, this could also be like your dad could have had these issues growing up. He would have had a lot of hardship, and then obviously this could be like a pattern. It can go on to be your issues, but you have to break that pattern. You have to just like stand in your truth and embrace yourself, respect yourself, and work on self-love. So I would say the actual way to deal with this is definitely to work on Venus. So they just can't be themselves, because the soul planet is with a humble planet, heavy planet, serious planet. Therefore, it takes a while for them to get to realize their gifts, and that they are talented, and they are important, and they can actually contribute to the world as such. And so they can punish themselves, and as a result actually attract people who punish them, and they see themselves as being there as a servant to the others, which is all very well, but being of service to others is fine, but as long as we stand in our own truth, so we also have that respect for ourselves, so then therefore we have these set boundaries, so people don't abuse our good nature. And they obviously need to realize their own value, and as I said, Venus is a really good way to deal with these issues. And the moment they start doing that and respect themselves, they change the energies that they attract. Now, both Sun and Saturn, they're both indicators of 10th house. So, and I always look at Saturn to see what sort of jobs people do. I think any planet with Saturn and any planet second from Saturn, it can give you a big idea about what type of job you will do. So these people, you can see they're more likely to be working for the government, because both of them actually are about institutions, government, politicians, things like that. So they could be working for the local government in some capacity. And but don't underestimate these people. They will break away from the limits of the conjunction at some point in their life. And I think the Saturn return, or age of 36 onwards, there is definitely, they will be the ones behind the scene, quietly doing the work, being available, being the most consistent, most tenacious workers in their department. And then slowly, as they gain the confidence and actually realize their value, they can really be promoted and be recognized for, so they could literally be bosses too. So, and obviously this depends on whether or not Saturn's strong or Sun is strong. So those that can have a that can be seen as well. If Sun is stronger, obviously the ego is a little bit more activated. If Saturn is much more for service, and humility and being humble is more the key elements there. So these are what you can see, but definitely you want to just be aware that you don't want to overwork, because these people can overwork themselves. And because there could be health issues. So you want to make sure that you are aware of those things, that you don't want to upset anything, you know, you don't want to sacrifice yourself for other people all of your life. That is not what we're intended to do. We're supposed to be souls here doing what our soul journey is. And if serving others is part of it, we all should be serving others, but we should be serving ourselves first in order to be ready to serve others. Thank you. I've left the indications for Saturn below, but I can just run through them again. So obviously Saturn is the serious planet. It's all about like duty, responsibility, doing the right thing, service to others. It's the significator of work. It's one of the planets that significator for the 10th house. It's about illness, death, sickness, accidents, longevity, lack, basically lack, misery, fear, feeling insecure, feeling humble, all the kind of things that actually come from fear, from lack. All those sort of negative things are all to do with Saturn, like thinking negatively, not seeing the glass half full. Glass half full is Jupiter, glass half empty is Saturn, if you like. These are the people who, if Saturn is really strong in the chart, particularly Capricorn, actually, because obviously what we had the Saturn really strong in Capricorn from 24th of January 2020 till recently, and it's just retrograded back. But retrograde Saturn is not too bad, actually. And so it's more passive, so we don't feel the difficulties of it so much. But Saturn there is just like was aspecting Cancer. Like Cancer is all those things that our emotional self, our nurturing, our sort of like security, and you've made us all feel fearful because of what was going on in the world. All of us feeling like, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world, and worrying about our health, well-being, family, friends, can't see this, can't do this. Yeah, so disciplines, boundaries, government, institutions, corporations, all of those are all to do with Saturn. Also laws, bylaws, all to do with Saturn. Saturn is all about like rigidities, you know, it's not a flexible planet. It's like, this is the way it is. Things are really black and white with Saturn. But we need it also because if people are not serious about life, you never achieve anything because you're always going with the flow. And I all of us know somebody who in our lives who's got like a weak Saturn, and they like risk assess everything and don't do anything in the end, you know. That's, so we realize that, and they could be just chopping and changing jobs and that kind of thing. So yeah, so Saturn is it's the stability in your life. So if you've got a good Saturn, you will always do the right thing by the people. Its moral codes are actually written by a good Saturn. So yeah, I mean, I have left a video link for a fuller video regarding indications of Saturn, and in the next video is Sun Saturn conjunction. Thank you.